Cannot believe it is June already. The year almost half over, and working with these animal themes has been excellent inspiration for me. I hope you've been enjoying them. The animal for the month of June is a little, I don't know, it's not the first animal that I think of when I think of animals that are really laden with symbolism and that feature prominently in mythology, but there's a lot for me to learn there as I dig into this month. We're going to be looking at the dolphin. I thought with summer and trips to the beach, it would be nice to have some kind of water-themed animal. And there's been some interesting things that have come up in my preliminary research. Now, I'll continue to research as I do pages throughout the month, but just to start you off with some mythology and folklore. First off, my first thought, and one of the reasons why I picked the dolphin, was the wall paintings, the frescoes, and some of the artwork that comes out of ancient Greece, specifically Crete, the Minoan and the Mycenaean era. And there are beautiful murals of dolphins all over, the Palace at Knossos and things like that. So I'm sure that's going to be one of my themes, since that was part of my inspiration. It's not surprising that cultures around the Mediterranean have dolphins that feature into their myths. I mean, they're associated with Aphrodite, who, although she's the goddess of love and beauty, she was born of the sea. She was born emerging up on the half shell, as we sometimes say in art history humor. The dolphin is connected with Amphitrite, who was the wife of Poseidon, and of course with Poseidon himself, said to even pull his chariot that was shaped like a seashell, and dolphins would pull it across the waves. So those are kind of the first obvious associations. Now, there's a myth that pops up all the time. It was very, very common about a musician named Arion, and he was thrown overboard for whatever. Was there mutiny? The specifics are not important here, but he was saved by dolphins, and as a musician, he played music for them, and so dolphins are often associated with music. We know that they use echolocation to communicate and to locate, right, to navigate. So it's not surprising that there would have been some connotations and connections with sound and music with them. The deeper you dive, the more unusual things pop up. The Amazon River dolphin is said to be able to shape change, and it'll come ashore at night dressed in a white suit and a white hat and seduce the mortal women. In Hindu mythology, sometimes the dolphin is associated with the goddess Ganga, who is the goddess of the Ganges River, and sometimes the dolphin is her mount or her companion, her vehicle. The Maori in Australia and New Zealand have connections with the dolphin. In New Zealand, there's a myth that says ancestors of the peoples arrived on the back of a giant dolphin named Kahurangi. There's also a kind of pervading myth in that region that the dolphins are very powerful supernatural beings. They're the go-betweens between the humans and the deities, but they're also protectors of the humans. We know dolphins are very playful, they're very intelligent, they're very curious. My husband will tell tales of, even here in Delaware in his 20s, surfing and having the dolphins come out to swim alongside them in early morning in the beaches in southern Delaware. Let's see what else we have here. There are myths, kind of vague, but kind of throughout different cultures, about dolphins saving humans, saving them from drowning, tying into the myth of the dolphin being a protector. Dolphins themselves do have a strong sense of community. One very interesting myth with Dionysus, the Greek and Roman god of intoxication, of wine, of that kind of celebration, but also maybe leaning into debauchery sometimes. He was on board ship and the sailors mutinied, and so to punish them, he sent them hallucinations. They then dove into the water in craziness in an attempt to flee, but he took pity on them and turned them into dolphins. So interesting that that would tie into a myth of dolphins saving sailors since they themselves had once been human. So interesting. Um, and of course, in Hawaii, with its island nature, the native peoples there have many myths and connections with the dolphins. The dolphins are sacred to Kanaloa, who's the god of the sea. Um, they're seen to embody the spirits of ancestors. And so, in such, they're kind of a bridge, a connection between the sea gods and the mortals. They do protect. They're a symbol of protection, but they're also seen to be a symbol of, you know, living in harmony, taking care of nature, in that they are from the natural realm and the ocean specifically. I mean, there is no new water. All the water we have exists. And so it is a cycle, but we also need to conserve it, not pollute it. So these are some of my thoughts when I look at the dolphin as a symbol for the month. Um, on a final note, the Dauphin of France. There were dolphins in heraldry in the Middle Ages, especially on the coat of arms or the shield of the Dauphin, the, I guess, heir apparent of France. So we'll see what comes up. It could be inspired by Roman mosaics. It could be inspired by um, Dionysus and ancient Greek pottery. You know, I'm an art history nerd at heart. So there'll be updates to the Pinterest page with different artwork inspirations. And I, of course, invite you to follow along, whether it is with my creations for the month or if you want to take it to the page and do some dolphin inspired work of your own. Welcome to June. Happy summer.